Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Spark Q&A, where I attempt to answer your questions about innovation, strategy, and complexity. Next question is from John Morley. So happy to have some questions from John. John is always very thoughtful, asks great and provocative questions. John Morley and I met through the strategic doing community years ago, and turns out we both have some deep connections to Cork, Ireland, and we've built a great friendship over time. So happy that John sent in these questions. John actually has two questions. One, is all work innovation? And two, are we all innovators? And anybody that knows me knows that I'm a big fan of improv. So I usually yes and. But John, for these two questions, I think the short answer is no and no. But honestly, these are really interesting questions. So I want to take this a bit more seriously. Is all work innovation? I'm going to say no. I think one is still the challenges that we have with the term innovation. As I referenced in a Q&A I did for Nick, it's a little bit of an F-bomb. It's a word that can have a lot of different meanings, and it can also create a lot of different emotions in organizations. But is all work innovation? No. I'm going to kind of lean on Daniel Kahneman's thinking fast, thinking slow. I think a lot of work that we do, especially as we focus on optimization, is where we're on autopilot, so we're not really innovating. And I know that for me, my definition of innovation is really creating and capturing new value. However, lately I was introduced to Dan Ward's book Punk, and as we look at innovation there, Dan has a great simple definition: is novelty with impact. So all work is not innovation, but we can innovate across all parts of the business, from day-to-day operations to kind of our moonshots. Then John's second question: are we all innovators? Again, I'm going to say no, but we can be. So digging into that, good ideas can come from anywhere, and they should. We should be open to these from anywhere. Middle managers, John, you talk about this in trying to release trapped value, and that we do see middle managers as really the unsung innovators in organizations, right? They're faced with a bunch of constraints. They're trying to translate strategy into day-to-day operations. They're getting feedback from the front line. They're doing a lot of work. I think every day they are invoking innovation. They might not see themselves as innovators, but we need to think about good ideas from coming from anywhere, and that the best ideas must win, and we need to let them grow and foster over time. So how do we cultivate those? Not enough time to really dig into that. But are we all innovators? No, but really we can be. I know this is hard because also innovation requires a creative front end and a disciplined, rigorous back end. And innovation is a team sport, and we do need people to play both positions. And that can be done at any time from anywhere. So while I kind of joked no and no, it's really kind of and no, but we can be. And I think along these lines, we really need to look at, especially ideas coming from anywhere, and cultivating those is build to learn and to deploy. So we need to work on prototypes to teach, right? And we can build to learn, build to decide. And then at scale, right, Wright's law can kick in. As we continue to build and learn at scale, things become cheaper. So those are ways that we can see breakthroughs. There's a lot of issues that innovators confront, whether it's risk, whether it is lacking a shared definition, or how might we measure innovation in an organization. But really, if we employ a build to learn kind of spirit or discipline. And I think, John, you've been so generous all the time with your writing or reading recommendations. Always have great articles and books to recommend to me. So two that I'd like to give to you that I think would be helpful for people reading this. One is the book Abundance. Really abundance as something generative versus scarce. And so if we have a scarcity mentality, it's hard to be innovative. The book Abundance, the second half is much better than the first half, but really when it digs into examples of Bell Labs, NIH, DARPA, and even a case study on the mRNA vaccine and why it was a struggle for so long and then it became a breakthrough. I think those are important. But the book that I really want to recommend, both for kind of its attitude and content, is Dan Ward's Punk. I'll have links to that in the description. But John, I think you would really enjoy that. Hopefully other readers would get a lot out of Dan Ward's book. It's great. So just to wrap up, we can all contribute when it comes to innovation, both on the front end, the creative ideas, and the back end, the measuring, the discipline, making the tough choices of what to continue, what to kill, and how do we advance through, and how do we continue to learn through the process. So, John, I really want to thank you for your thoughtful questions. Always a pleasure to interact, even if it's not in real time. And for folks watching here, I'm just kind of curious, what's your innovation zone? Where do you see you contributing in your organization? How might you help create novelty with impact or create and capture new value? Curious to get your questions. When you have a chance, send those in. And John, hopefully we can catch up soon. Take care, everybody.